Well, hello everyone. Happy Friday, the 7th of February 2025. Hard to believe that we're already into February. The weeks are absolutely flying. I hope that we're all safe and well. New week, new changes. Never too late to start, even though it's Friday evening. It's never too late to get our weekend started. We've plenty of time to make that change. Drinking our water, watching portion size, keeping our food diaries, touching base, and just being mindful of what we put into our mouth, folks. This week's talk was titled The Vagus Nerve. And it's a little bit of a medical scientific talk, but it's very relevant to us on our weight loss journey because it is all connected to the digestive tract, making sure we're digesting food properly, the food goes through the body quicker, and really just to slow it down and be in touch or tap into the vagus nerve is just so important. So we'll do a couple of simple exercises at the end just to cover the material briefly. Obviously I covered more in the class, but the vagus nerve is the 10th cranial nerve. There's 12 of them and they're in pairs, and it's the 10th. The cranial nerve basically carries sensory and motor fibres. It creates a pathway that interfaces with the parasympathetic nervous system. Okay, so that's what it does. Carries fibres, sensory and motor fibres. So, for instance, to blink your eyes, to smile, to move, it's all interconnected with that. It controls the heart, lungs and digestive system, so it's so important. So it starts roughly here in the brain, comes down here either side of the neck, comes into the chest, goes around the heart and down and finishing off in the larger intestine, which is obviously the lower one, the lower intestine. It's responsible for heart rate and also for our immune system. So you can see that the vagus nerve is really, really important, and it's so important that we look after it and treat it gently and kindly and mind it. It also carries signals between the heart, the brain and the digestive system. So it carries those signals obviously when we eat to trigger for the body to break it down, keeping our heart rate regular, because obviously the heart rate can go up and down. We do want to have a nice steady heart rate. The vagus nerve is the 10th of the 12 cranial nerves, as I said, and it's also the longest one. It passes through the neck, into the chest and then into the abdomen and finishing off then in the larger intestine. So really, really important. Stresses that I'd like us just to be aware of. These are stress factors that we probably don't really take into consideration on our weight loss journey, but they are things that we need to be aware of and that can cause stress within the body. So up first, for the top ones is eating enough calories but not eating enough nutrients. So I think we've all kind of been guilty of that maybe in the past, but we're more aware of it now, or at least I hope that we are, that we can get our calories in on the HSE food pyramid. We all should be roughly on 1800 to 2000 calories a day in order to lose weight. But I don't want us being fanatical and looking at labels and counting our calories for the day, because that's not what the programme is about. But we're not actually getting enough nutrients in there. So it's really important that we feed our body properly. The programme that we're on is the HSE food pyramid. So it is a medical programme, and each shelf of that feeds a different part of you. So if you're new to the group, you would have been, I hope to get a chance to look at New Members Talk Part 1 and 2. If we're on the programme a little while, it's very good to refresh in there, and obviously the programme is explained in more detail at the class. Our second point of stressors is taking vitamins, thinking that they will, basically for a bad lifestyle, that they'll substitute or carry, that they'll make up for having a bad lifestyle. And again, I would have been guilty of this in the past when I was younger, probably in my 20s, taking vitamins, taking loads of vitamins and thinking because we're not maybe getting enough nutrients or vitamins through what we're eating, and this will substitute. I would have taken meal supplement tablets, but really the best way of doing this is dietary. It is a medical programme that we are following, and it's an old saying as well that you can't exercise your way out of poor nutrition. So it's the same that we can't take vitamins thinking it's going to compensate for having a bad lifestyle, because eventually, unfortunately, it does catch up with us. The third point then is being indoors most of the day. I know we live in Ireland, but it is something to be aware of. We should be getting out at least 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the evening when it's bright, longer if possible. But if we're indoors all day, now we're not talking if it's the odd day watching Netflix in pyjamas. I'm a firm believer and lover of that myself. But if we're in most of the day, 7 days a week, it's not good for us mentally. And sometimes the hardest part of that is actually just getting out of the house. So give yourself that little push. You always feel better once you're after getting out, seeing people, maybe seeing different things. You always feel better, but it's not good being in most of the day. It does actually cause a lot of stress to the brain. The fourth big stress then would be multitasking, so we never have a clear head. Again, I think this is more of a trait of women, that we multitask a lot. It is something that we're good at, but it's not okay to be doing that all the time and have that brain fog, or that cotton wool brain is what I call it, that sometimes you walk into a room, you forget why you walked into the room. Sometimes I'm looking for the phone while I'm on the phone, Silly things like that I hope that we're all guilty of, and it's not just me. So multitasking can be a big stressor to the brain. So let's focus on doing one job at a time, whether it's emptying the washing machine, complete that, move on to the next one, emptying the dishwasher, whatever that it might be, that we're not doing starting one job and moving to another. So we're looking busy, but we're not really getting anything done, if you get me. So the role of the parasympathetic nervous system is basically controls the rest and digest stage in the body. So it's the opposite of our sympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for fight or flight. So we would have talked about that a lot in class last year. But basically that rest and digest is a key part of the body that we must rest. That's when the body rejuvenates itself, takes the nutrients from our food to send them to the relevant places in the body. If we do not have our vagus nerve turned on or tapped into or aware of it, it does affect our mental health. So you can see the big interconnection here and how important that it is. And again, there's more awareness about it. And again, that's what this talk is about, is creating awareness, it's creating the education. And then once we have education, then we can make the relevant changes. So basically when we stimulate the vagus nerve, it releases stress. Who couldn't do it that? It releases anxiety and depression. So there is a VNS system that's like a little pacemaker inserted in the right side of the neck. And for anyone that suffers severe depression, clinical depression, and it's known to be very good and very successful. But we can do gentle exercises and always talk to your doctor, your GP about things like that. But your vagal tone can be easily changed and improved. So sometimes they say that the vagal tone is set when our mother carries us and it travels through the placenta, and that's why we're saying that it can be easily changed and improved. I did speak more about that in class. So exposure to cold basically calms the nerves, believe it or not. And I know we have a few ladies in our group that does the dip in Portmarnock Beach or Malahide Beach at 5:30 in the morning, literally in and out. I've yet to be converted, but it is something on my bucket list to do, and you swear by it. Also, we have another member, the plunge. Again, we did talk about this in class last week. Icy water first thing in the morning on the face, just to tap into that vagus nerve, to calm ourselves before the day, so we're not like that hamster on the wheel, constantly chasing our own tail and meeting ourselves on the way back. Massage the neck gently up and down, so especially the skin here behind the ear. So it's always very gentle. There's nothing vigorous when we're tapping into this vagus nerve, but just gently here, just behind the ear, just up and down. Maybe a little bit of oil makes the fingers run smoothly, but it's very calming and relaxing. So even if you're sitting in the car in traffic, maybe before we lie down in bed, it's great on an airplane, just in any stress situations, or even in general. This is something that should be part of our daily routine, like brushing our teeth, brushing our hair, having a shower, having our tea or coffee, that this is just part of our daily routine. Sing, hum or gargle, so the oral stimulation is very good for the vagus nerve. Again, we did speak about this in our talk from last week. Probiotics to have a healthy gut. So again, this should be and just when we have a healthy gut, it does improve our brain function as well. We function much better than when we eat junk food, and the brain is not really getting stimulated either by what we eat. But dietary is better than supplements. Probiotic yogurt is very good. Kefir is very good. But mainly it is found in yogurts is where we're going to get the most probiotics from. So sleeping on the right side as well is good for the vagus nerve. Not so much lying on our back is not a great position. So a couple of the exercises that we did in class, and that's hence why I'm doing the video, so that we can remember these ones. So to stimulate our own vagus nerve is self-touch, okay, is really important. So just one hand on the forehead, one hand on the back of the neck, so underneath the hairline, and just press just ever so gently. But when we do the self-touch, be aware of maybe the temperature of your hand. Your hand could be a little bit colder than the forehead or the back of the neck. And just that self-touch, that self-awareness to tap into our vagus nerve. These exercises all should be minimum 30 to 60 seconds each. If you do feel a sigh, a swallow or a yawn, it means that it's starting to work. So maybe we might need to do it a little bit longer so we get those results, to know that we are tapped into the vagus nerve. So the sigh, the swallow or the yawn. 2 then is to massage the neck muscle. So it comes down either side of the neck. So just up and down either side of the neck. Again, a little bit of oil can make this a little bit smoother for our fingers to go up and down. But again, this should be 30 to 60 seconds long. Okay, so I'm going to leave you with that to do it in your own time, just so that I cover the material. Then the ear massage. So this part of the ear, okay, so the little hard part, is just like pulling the skin in and out. And again, this is for 30 seconds. And we should be doing this in the morning and in the evening and throughout the day. But let's start with at least one time a day. So it's pulling that skin ever so gently back and forth. Then we have the salamander. So that's a little bit of a funny name. So basically that is, we're just going to pull the head to one side, and then the other hand is just going to go on the rib cage, and we're just going to pull over. Make sure that we're looking straight ahead. And again, that's for 30 to 60 seconds, and then we do the same on the opposite side. Okay, so number 5 then is to stimulate, to relax and to also sleep. So a great one for this is to turn your head left and right, so slowly all the way across, and again this is for 30 to 60 seconds. Then hands behind the neck. Again, I'm just doing this in fast forward mode because I want you to take your time doing this. Hands behind the neck, and just rest your head and feel the weight of your head into it. Put the weight of your head into your neck. Maybe be aware of the temperature of your hands. Be really aware of your surroundings and your own self-touch. And then we can just put the head forward, and again looking straight ahead, but look up to the right hand side of the room only with our eyes, so the head is staying forward again for 30 to 60 seconds. And we should be feeling the yawn, the sigh or the swallow. So again, I want you to do your own countdown on that, so nice and slow. And then once we do that, over to the other side, again the head straight forward but eyes to the top left of the room. I can feel the yawn there, and also a swallow. And then we can just do the bilateral. Okay, so again that's just about relaxing, stimulate to reduce stress, and trigger sleep mode then as well. So your little motto for this week is that you've got to nourish to flourish, and that's what we have to do. A little bit like our flowers in the garden or the grass, we have to nourish it to help it grow, and that's when we see it flourishing. So it's the same as ourselves, we have to flourish the body by tapping into the vagus nerve. So I hope that helps, folks. Any questions, you know the drill, just to text me and ask me questions. I hope you have a lovely weekend, and I'll see you all in class next week. Be safe, and lots of loves, cuddles and kisses. Bye bye.